Your phone knows where you are right now, not approximately, not within a few blocks. It knows your precise location to within 3 meters, updated continuously, drawing on a network of 31 satellites orbiting the Earth at 20,000 kilometers altitude. It does this for free, instantly, without you thinking about it. So does every guided missile in the American arsenal, every military aircraft, every naval vessel, every special operations team operating behind enemy lines, every drone strike, every artillery shell fired with precision guidance, every logistics convoy moving supplies across a combat zone. The entire architecture of modern American military power runs on the same 31 satellites that tell your phone where the nearest coffee shop is. And Russia has spent 15 years learning how to turn them off, not destroy them. Not permanently disable them, simply reach up electronically and make them lie, or go silent, or point the wrong direction. In a battlefield where every American weapon system assumes GPS is accurate, reliable, and available. The ability to corrupt that signal is not a technical curiosity. It is a weapon that changes the outcome of wars. Today we are going to talk about what GPS jamming and spoofing actually are, where they are already being used against American systems right now, and what happens to the United States, militarily and domestically, if the GPS network goes dark. GPS stands for Global Positioning System. It was built by the United States Department of Defense, declared operational in 1995, and originally designed exclusively for military use. The decision to make it available to civilians was one of the most consequential policy choices in the history of technology. The economic value of civilian GPS has been estimated at over $1 trillion annually. Navigation, logistics, financial transactions, telecommunications infrastructure, agriculture, emergency services. All of it runs on a signal originally designed to guide bombs. The signal itself is remarkably fragile. A GPS receiver on the ground is picking up a transmission from a satellite 20,000 kilometers away. By the time that signal arrives at your phone or your missile guidance system, it is extraordinarily weak, roughly equivalent to reading a newspaper in a room lit by a single candle from across the Atlantic Ocean. That weakness is not an accident. It is a fundamental physical constraint of transmitting a signal across that distance. It also means the signal is easy to overwhelm. A GPS jammer is not a sophisticated device. The basic technology is available online. A jammer transmits noise on the same frequency as the GPS signal, louder than the legitimate signal, drowning it out. The receiver cannot hear the satellites, it loses position. For a civilian driver, this means the navigation app stops working. For a precision-guided munition, it means the weapon loses its targeting entirely and becomes an unguided bomb falling in an approximate direction. Jamming is crude but effective. Spoofing is worse. A GPS spoofer does not block the signal. It replaces it. It transmits a false GPS signal that the receiver accepts as legitimate, feeding it incorrect position data. A spoofed receiver does not know it is lost. It believes it is exactly where the spoofer tells it to be. For a missile, that means hitting a different target than intended. For an aircraft, it means navigating to the wrong location while the instruments show everything is normal. For a ship, it means running aground while the chart display shows open water. Spoofing is harder to detect than jamming precisely because nothing appears to be wrong. Russia has been using both techniques operationally for years. This is not an assessment or an estimate. It is documented in incident reports, aviation safety databases, and military after-action reviews. In the skies over Finland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, NATO member states, GPS disruption affecting commercial aviation has been recorded continuously since 2022. Aircraft approaching Helsinki and Tallinn airports have reported GPS signal loss and spoofing incidents severe enough to require pilots to revert to backup navigation systems. The disruption originates from Russian territory and from the Russian military enclave of Kaliningrad on the Baltic Sea. In Syria, where Russian military forces have operated since 2015, GPS spoofing was used to protect Russian assets from drone attacks. Drones approaching Russian positions found their GPS guidance systems redirected, sending the aircraft to false coordinates miles from their intended targets. The technique worked. The attacks failed. In the Black Sea, commercial shipping has reported GPS spoofing incidents in which vessels' navigation systems showed their position as being at a nearby airport rather than at sea. The practical effect was to disable GPS-based navigation for ships in the region without any visible interference. The instruments showed a position, just the wrong one. American military aircraft operating in areas of Russian electronic warfare activity have encountered these systems directly. The details of specific incidents remain classified. What is not classified is that the United States Air Force and Navy have both invested significantly in backup navigation systems and GPS-independent guidance technologies specifically in response to demonstrated Russian jamming and spoofing capability. Now, let us think about what happens if GPS goes dark, not in a limited operational area, but broadly. Not just for military systems, but for the civilian infrastructure that the United States has built on the assumption that GPS is always available. Financial markets. The trading systems that process trillions of dollars of transactions daily use GPS timing signals to synchronize timestamps across global networks. Without precise GPS timing, the synchronization breaks down. Transactions cannot be reliably ordered. Automated trading systems fail. The precise magnitude of the disruption to financial infrastructure from extended GPS outage has been studied by the Department of Homeland Security. The conclusions are not publicly released in full. What has been released is the characterization of GPS timing loss as a potential critical infrastructure failure. Telecommunications. Cell towers use GPS timing to coordinate their signals. An extended GPS outage would degrade cellular network performance progressively as backup timing systems are exhausted. Emergency communications, 911 services, hospital coordination, disaster response depend on cellular infrastructure. Power grids. Electrical grid management uses GPS timing to synchronize the alternating current frequency across the network. Loss of GPS timing does not immediately crash the grid, but it degrades the precision of grid management and increases the risk of cascading failures during high-demand periods. Aviation. Commercial aircraft carry backup navigation systems, inertial navigation, radio navigation beacons, instrument landing systems. A GPS outage does not ground the civilian air fleet immediately. It makes flight significantly more complex, reduces capacity, and eliminates the precision approach capabilities that allow aircraft to land in low visibility conditions. None of these failures are instantaneous. GPS loss does not immediately stop America. What it does is degrade, complicate, and stress every system simultaneously at a moment when those systems are likely already under pressure from whatever conflict caused the GPS disruption in the first place. The American military has not been passive about this problem. Alternative positioning, navigation, and timing systems are in development. Inertial navigation systems that do not require external signals have been miniaturized and improved. Chip-scale atomic clocks that can maintain precise timing without GPS for extended periods are being integrated into critical systems. Anti-jam antenna systems that can reject interference while maintaining signal acquisition are being deployed across the force. The fundamental vulnerability, however, has not been eliminated. It has been mitigated. The 31 satellites of the GPS constellation remain the backbone of American military precision. The guided munitions that make American air power so effective, the navigation systems that allow special operations forces to move at night in terrain they have never seen, the timing systems that synchronize joint operations across multiple platforms and domains. All of them still depend, at their foundation, on a signal from space that adversaries have demonstrated the ability to disrupt. The United States military is aware of this. The investments in backup systems and GPS-resilient technology represent the institutional acknowledgement of a vulnerability that cannot be wished away. What the 31 satellites overhead represent is not just a navigation tool. They are the operating system of the modern American way of war. And the fact that adversaries have found a way to reach up and interfere with that operating system without firing a shot, without crossing a border from the safety of their own territory, is the most important military technology story that most Americans have never heard. Subscribe now. The next video goes inside what happens to an American soldier on the very first day they report for duty, and how much of what you think you know about that day is wrong. Tell me in the comments, did you know GPS was this fragile? And does it change how you think about American military dominance? Drop your answer below.